Why do most successful companies fail later on? Are all of the big tech companies unstoppable at this point? Will Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Apple still be here in 20 years? How do famous companies that fail get to that point? Let's dive right in.
E-commerce giant are sharply lower on this news. Now the cuts follow an earlier round of layoffs.
Now to that announcement from Google this morning. The tech giant planning to slash 12,000 jobs.
Apple just took a huge hit in value, down $200 billion in its market capitalization.
Number 1. IBM, lackluster culture. In the 70s, IBM seemed unstoppable. Measured by market cap, for example, IBM accounted for a staggering 6.4% of the S&P 500. In 1985, IBM's peak year, IBM was almost 2.35 times the size of the second biggest company of its day, Exxon. To put it into context, nowadays Apple, the world's largest company, is almost the same size, if not combined, as Microsoft in terms of market value, displaying a more even war between the giants. It's hard to say why IBM fell, but if I had to give a reason, it has to be the lackluster culture that every startup hates to become. Let's have a look at these examples. Relational database and System R was invented, but then Oracle stole the show almost immediately. Personal computers, the copyright fiasco for DOS, and Microsoft was born by creating MS-DOS. Too much reliance on hardware. IBM ended up selling it all. Every failed IT project that went to the news had IBM's name stamped on it, resulting in a really bad reputation. Number 2. Microsoft. What happens when the founder leaves? In the 90s, Microsoft made the electronic industry shit their pants. Microsoft is no longer the monopoly that once dominated the PC era, but Windows still powers 89% of desktop computers. By the early 2000s, Microsoft had been severely bruised by its numerous legal battles. Microsoft would spend the next several years attempting to restore its public image. Gates' departure as the CEO and the appointment of Steve Ballmer as his replacement marked the beginning of a baptism of fire for Microsoft that saw the once mighty company struggle with botched product launchings and a fundamental shift in its identity and direction. That also reminds us of the importance of having a company run by their founders. One of the biggest challenges for a company to succeed is its succession plan. The new CEO, Satya Nadella, however, made a tremendous comeback, and now Microsoft returns to be a powerhouse. Number 3. Kodak. Do not avoid disrupting yourself. Kodak was founded in the late 1880s, became a giant in the photography industry in the 1970s, and then filed for bankruptcy in 2012, showing that even 100 plus years old huge companies can still fall. In 1975, Steve Sasson, an engineer at Kodak, invented the digital camera. It was filmless photography, so management reaction was, well, that's cute, but don't tell anyone about it. A former VP of Kodak, Don Strickland, said, "We developed the world's first consumer digital camera, but we couldn't get approval to launch it or sell it because of the fear of the effects on the film market." In 1976, Kodak became so dominant, they practically pushed their competitors off the market. Kodak cameras had a 85% market share. Kodak film had a 90% market share. In the late 1980s, with the rise of digital photography with analog cameras, sales decreasing and then digital camera sales increasing, customers switched from Kodak to Fuji because the Japanese color film was 20% cheaper than Kodak's. From 1991 to 2011, Kodak released various digital products, but sales kept falling. Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975, but it was only released in 1991. They held their innovation for 16 years. That teaches us the lesson that complacency gives way to better things. Number 4. AO. Serial acquiring or serial killing. American Online met the need for internet connectivity. They constructed a data-driven, direct response-focused marketing department that made it the most accessible option for connectivity. That's why it rose. Then they started serial acquiring numerous companies, from Netscape to Moviefone to computer servers, and proceeded with a terrible merger with Time Warner. At its peak, American Online had a market capitalization of more than $200 billion. Then the dot-com bubble burst, bringing a wave of companies into bankruptcies. AOL reported a $99 billion net loss. American Online then fell because someone else started meeting the need better than they did. The telecoms through DSL and then the cable providers through cable. Number 5. Blockbuster, the most complacent of all. The video rental company was at its peak in 2004. They survived the change from VHS to DVD, but they failed to innovate into a market that allowed for delivery, much less streaming. While Netflix was shipping out DVDs to their consumers' homes, Blockbuster figured their physical stores were enough to please their customers. Because they had been the leader of the movie rental for many years, management didn't see why they should change their strategy. Back in 2000, the founder of Netflix, Reed Hastings, proposed a partnership to the CEO of Blockbuster. Netflix wanted Blockbuster to advertise Netflix brand in the stores, while Netflix would run Blockbuster online. The idea got turned down by the CEO of Blockbuster because he thought it was ridiculous and that Netflix business model was niche business. Little did he know that Hastings' idea would have saved Blockbuster. In 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy and is now part of the companies that failed, whilst Netflix is a $200 billion company. Number 6. Blackberry, from hero to zero. Blackberry, a line of smartphones and tablets, was a smashing success in 1998. They changed the game in the mobile industry by offering a device with a large keyboard. At one point, there were 80 million Blackberry users in the world, including the likes of former US President Barack Obama. Just a few years later, the entire mobile industry started focusing on bigger touchscreen displays, whilst BlackBerry was more concerned about protecting what it already had. Failing to adapt to changes, BlackBerry quickly went down to a market share of only 0.2% by early 2016. In 2017, the CEO John Chen announced that BlackBerry was now out of the smartphone manufacturing business and that the company would then focus on software development, including security and applications. Number 7. Myspace shut down. Myspace, a website that was once the dominating social network until Facebook came onto the scene. Funnily enough, in 2005, Myspace CEO Chris DeWolf actually met up with Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg to discuss business together. Mark offered to sell Facebook to Myspace for $75 million, which Chris ended up saying no to. Because of the growth of Facebook, Myspace started seeing a decline of their users and then decided to change its niche. The flexibility and free expansion allowed on the Myspace platform was its biggest differentiator, had become then the most common reason for users to start to leave. In 2011, the company changed its focus from social networking to entertainment and music. But later that year, Myspace was then forced to fire over 500 employees after a sustained loss of users. Other platforms also had to shut down because of Facebook, including Orkut and Google+, both social media attempts by Google. Number 8. Yahoo, wasted opportunities. In 2005, Yahoo owned 21% of the online advertising market. They were the market leaders. Then they mismanaged their growth. They already held a number 1 position, but in their dreams of becoming an online portal, instead of carrying out on dominating search, they outsourced their search engine to Microsoft Bing. Then, realizing that they took the wrong path, Yahoo struck a deal to buy Google for $5 billion in 2002, but then they refused to splash the cash. Yahoo attempted to purchase Facebook back in 2006 for $1 billion. Reports indicate that the board of directors would have forced Zuckerberg to accept an offer of $1.1 billion, yet Yahoo executives would not agree to the increased bid. Before Yahoo purchased Flickr in 2005, its founders had plans to turn the photo sharing site into a social network, similarly to Instagram. Yahoo then mismanaged its acquisition of Flickr and then missed the social media boat. Yahoo purchased the young Tumblr microblogging organization in 2013 for $1.1 billion. But then failed to turn their acquisition into a profitable component of the company. After investing hundreds of millions of dollars into the project, Tumblr essentially disappeared into obscurity and proved to be one of the last opportunities for Yahoo to redeem itself. Number 9. hierarchy problems at Xerox. Xerox launched the Xerox 914 photocopier in 1958, and it revolutionized document printing. It is considered the most successful single product of all time, gaining Xerox $60 million in revenue in just 3 years, climbing up to $500 million by 1965. Xerox's problem was their own inventions were then shunned by their own directors. Researchers and engineers at Xerox invented several elements of personal computing, but the board of directors instructed the engineers to share them with Apple technicians. These concepts were then adopted by Apple and Microsoft, who turned into two dominating businesses in computing, whereas Xerox were left behind in comparison. So summarizing, why do companies fail? Companies grow older, success breeds complacency, and then they become ripe for disruption by a small, nimble, risk-taking startup. Even Jeff Bezos said, Amazon will not last forever. Famous failed companies do it through a long process, but that seems to be accelerated by technology. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so we can reach more people. Thanks so much. Bye bye.